Alrighty, welcome back. We're going to continue Cine2Nerdle playing Phillip Seymour Hoffman, going from rating 1000 to 2000. We are currently at the 1100 rating. We're going to go try to make it up to 1200 in this setting. So I'm going to go ahead, find a game, and let's jump into it. Uh, we'll probably get going down a lot of those similar paths that we've played before. We may be actually playing a brand new player here. I'm sorry to do that. Maybe they'll see some movies that inspire them, though, and future connections, and maybe they'll still get some assistance from this game. That's some positive thinking to it. I hate to think of, you know, playing somebody at these lower skill ratings. It is unfortunate, but I think it's important nonetheless. So, Harry Potter, as I mentioned, there's a lot of connections here. Unfortunately, we're not in round four yet to get something on there. So I'm going to go ahead and play Guns Akimbo. A lot of people don't know other connections. They just know Daniel Radcliffe. So what I'm hoping is they play another Harry Potter movie and we get set back up to play one of our connections here. Top of mind, there's, depending on the Harry Potter movie, you can have about 1 to 4 connections, but I think all of them will have at least one connection. So it looks like they don't want to do Harry Potter, but they ran out of time. Man, that is too bad. So we'll go ahead and roll it on to the next one. See what we get into here. Again, we're probably going to see this similar line of Hunger Games, Moneyball. Now, the positive thing about that is if you're committed to playing these win conditions, is you start seeing a lot of these same patterns. It's going to really help you go through the skill rating because you can anticipate what the opponents will play and know your ways in and out of it. So we get the house money. Now, any Anna Faris movie that comes up, what I like to do is play Smiley Face because this has John Krasinski in it. And I think a lot of people aren't aware that there is a John Krasinski connection, but they go out of it. They go to Jennifer's Body. This has Chris Pratt in it. So, what I'm going to do. Oh, yeah, no, we're only round three. I can't play yet. So, I'm going to play Tomorrow War. We see Chris Pratt here again. And what I'm hoping happens, they'll probably play Moneyball, but they might just say, "Oh, Chris Pratt, I'm going to play a Chris Pratt movie." But we have our two connections here, so we'll see what happens. They go J.K. Simmons. You don't see that as often, but we have a connection here. This will be the first time we played this. This is through Toni Collette, and that is Mary and Max. Toni Collette, if you don't know, was in Hereditary, which is one of my favorite movies. She was the mom in Hereditary. It is one of my favorites. So if you see Hereditary come up, you know you have a connection there. But we get Knives Out instead. Now, I think there is another connection here that I'm unaware of at the moment. I'm blanking on what it is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play What's Your Number? This has Chris Evans, who is Captain America, who's in Knives Out. Now, what is important to note is our opponent is playing Evil X. They have that power, which adds 2X's every time. So me playing a 1X is essentially playing the 2X, which is a danger zone that I don't want to be in. So we get not another teen movie. Does this have Kevin Hart in it? Oh, it has Theodore Shapiro. Theodore Shapiro, I think, is a composer that does a lot of the Ben Stiller movies. I think I got lucky on that one, to be honest. I thought Kevin Hart was in it. Kevin Hart is in a lot of those like later scary movies and disaster movie. So I thought maybe not another teen movie they might be in, but I got lucky that it was Along Came Polly, so that there was the connection through Theodore. Um, so they take talented Mr. Ripley away. So this is another one that comes up often, especially when you're playing people who are using the crime condition. When I see this, there's a couple options, but I'll go ahead and play Alfie. This is another good one to have under your tool belt because Jude Law has two connections through Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I think there's not a lot of bigger names in this movie. so it's bound to play something that has a connection, but they play AI, artificial intelligence, who does in fact have Meryl Streep in it, so we can play Doubt. And that is it. I didn't realize I was that close to winning, but alas, here we are. We can go on to the next one, and we're immediately match made into our next game here, so we'll keep it rolling. Back to Zootopia. Um, there's not a lot of noticeable names here, but a couple good ones to know is this Alan Silvestri has some good connections, but also Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames is in all the Mission Impossible movies, so I'm going to start with that. We're going to go ahead and do that. If you recognize that, that's just one I happen to know that Lilo and Stitch, somehow somebody played that connection once. I don't think I would have known that other than just one of my opponents played that once. But Tom Cruise has a couple connections to Philip Seymour Hoffman, so hopefully we get something there. Now, this isn't one where, I said I always like to try to play a movie that has two connections, but I wasn't aware of that one. But they knew one of them, Mission Impossible 3. That's a big one. So they take that one away from us. So we still have one more connection through Tom Cruise. So I'm going to play, what is that movie called? Edge of Tomorrow. Has Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt in it. Again, two people that have connections to Philip Seymour Hoffman. So I'm always trying to find movies that have at least two people. That's a good one. So if they play another Tom Cruise, but they play Emily Blunt. Now, this goes back to this is some strategy that I mentioned. If I played the Emily Blunt connection, I would be placing the second tick on here and leaving myself open to them putting me down there. So A Quiet Place also has John Krasinski in it that I mentioned had a connection. So I want to play that one instead. That's just a slight tweak in the way that I'm playing here to ensure I try to stay out of that second tick danger zone. So even though I went into it saying I want to play an Emily Blunt connection, if they present the opportunity for me to play a 1-star, then I'm going to use it. So they play Synecdoche, New York. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman in this. Just want to shout it out. If you haven't seen it, I loved it. So, but we have to play something here. Our time's running out, and we're going to go back to Cyrus here because it has Catherine Keener in it, allowing us to make that connection. So we haven't played any of these actors yet that I can remember. So I think Cyrus is fair game to see if they want to go into that. So Catherine Keener has at least 3 connections with Philip Seymour Hoffman. So the problem is she's not in a lot of recognizable movies, especially not as the main star. So you gotta kind of have to have a knowledge base of what movie she's in to be able to play those. But they played Boogie Nights. That automatically blocks me. I don't know if I mentioned this, but those who aren't aware, I'm not allowed to play a connection from a Philip Seymour Hoffman movie to a Philip Seymour Hoffman movie. So I have to play something else. I'm going to go Mystery Men again. This is one I often play because it has at least 3 connections that I can think of. William H. Macy being one of them, Ben Stiller, and Hank Azaria. So Mystery Men, if I can play it, and it's on a 1-star, I'll typically go ahead and use that lifeline. But hopefully that made sense about not being able to play a Philip Seymour Hoffman movie against a Philip Seymour Hoffman movie. If they play one, it kind of blocks me out that turn. I'm not allowed to. So again, William H. Macy had a connection, but I don't want to play that second star. I want to try to play a 1-star. So I've got Ben Stiller and Hank Azaria here. So I'm going to do Along Came Polly, which is one we often see. So get them in that 1-star range. That's where I like to be. I really play my games in the mindset that I'm going to win by playing my win condition. I don't really try to play these traps and getting people into movies they don't know and going that whole thing. That's way too much strategy for me. I just try to play movies that I know has a couple connections and try to avoid getting in. But for this case, Ben Stiller, I can get them on a 3 connection, and I think that's probably the best option here. So I'm going to play, maybe not my best option, but just Night at the Museum. I play this because it has Ricky Gervais in it and Robin Williams, who have connections. So meets that criteria of having 2 actors, so I'll play it. Robin Williams, I said, has the connection. This should finish it up here. Patch Adams. We haven't seen that one yet, but there's a a lot of Robin Williams movies that will come up. So having Patch Adams under your belt is a good one to be able to play. So we get the win here. Let's go ahead and find another one. Oof. We have somebody down who went down to 885. I don't know if I've seen that low of a rating. I'm sorry. Big Wheezy. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I don't know if this is going to also be beneficial for that rating, this match we're about to play. But we shall see. So there you go, Guardians of the Galaxy. I assume because it had the word Guardians in it. Maybe this was they were thinking maybe a prequel to Guardians of the Galaxy or something. But X-Men First Class. So what can we do here? Caleb Landry Jones. I'm gonna play Finch. Now this is good because it's a science fiction. It takes away Tom Hanks's science fiction movie from them. There's another one, of course, but they play Tom Hanks. It allows us to play Charlie Wilson's War. But Finch has two connections: Tom Hanks and Caleb Landry Jones is in it, or have connections to Phillip Seymour Hoffman. So that fits my criteria. So again, this is good reasoning of why we don't want to be playing the 3-star. Because if they played Captain Phillips and I was on 3 stars, I think I know a connection, but I don't think a lot of people do. It's a tough one, so I want to just stay out of that. So, what is one I could play? My go-to is most of the time here. It doesn't have two connections that I'm aware of, but it has Robin Wright in it, who has a connection. So we'll see if they know this and can play one. But Robin Wright also has multiple connections to Philip Seymour Hoffman. So one I like to play. So if we can try to get either one of those knocked out. But okay, they play an escape just to get out of here. They didn't know any connections, so they just escaped out and it randomly generated a movie. One other thing to note with the escapes, it automatically puts a block on there too. It's kind of two powers in one. So they don't have to play a movie, and I'm not allowed to play one that fits my win condition. So I got to play something here. I'm gonna go Bridget Jones' Diary. I don't think this doesn't have the two connections. It's the first one I thought of, but Renee Zellweger, who's in this, does have a connection to Philip Seymour Hoffman. So I'll go ahead and play that, and we'll see what they do in return. Try Diary of a Wimpy Kid. All right. So Runaway Bride has a couple connections here. I'm going to stick with one that's just an actor at the moment. So I'm going to go. Oh, did I already play Charlie Wilson's War? Yeah, I did. So that one's already been used. So I do have to use my other one. So we're going to go to Hunger Games. Now, I think I said in the first video, James Newton Howard is a composer, somebody very that you want to have in your memory bank of what movies did they do composing for. Okay, so what I want to do, because they were a composer for all the Hunger Games movies, this is similar to that Passenger's Trap that I like to set. But one thing I noticed is that they haven't played a block. So they're allowing me to play another Hunger Games movie. I figured they would just block and not allow me to play this. But if they're going to let me play it, I'll play it and I'll win the game. Man, Big Wheezy, you gotta use some of those blocks if you got them. But anyways, if that situation comes up, what I would have done there is, because I had two James Newton Howard, is I would have just played another James Newton Howard movie, and they're not able to play another Hunger Games movies because they're blocked through that composer. But we're going up against Big Wheezy again. The hurt continues. Big Wheezy, I am sorry to say, but you gotta learn to use those blocks, Big Wheezy. Ultimately, I'm not sure it would have helped them secure a win regardless, but always good practice. They have two. They might as well be using them. There's no use in having a win condition or these lifelines if you're not going to use them. So they go a little bit of a crazy connection here to SpongeBob SquarePants movie, who has Jeffrey Tambor, who has a connection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play not Hunger Games. I always confuse these. The Hangover. Only connection. Well, there actually is two connections in this movie, so it fits my strategy. So Uh, is Heather Graham in this one? Doesn't really matter. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and play Invention of Lying through Jeffrey Tambor. Jeffrey Tambor, if you're familiar with Arrested Development, played the father who was in jail. Uh, they were in Invention of Lying. So Jason Bateman, also in Arrested Development. They were both in this movie, reunited again. So good to have in your memory bank. It's hard to find movies that have Jeffrey Tambor because like not really a featured actor, but if you know what movies they're in, you can get that connection to Invention of Lying. So they play Wolf of Wall Street, which has Jonah Hill, which I can play the second Jonah Hill connection, which is Moneyball. They didn't take it from me this time. A lot of times, they take that from me. So we get This Is the End, and Big Wheezy, if you're not going to play that block, I'll go ahead and take the win. I think there's only one connection here that I'm aware of, and that is, I think it's the first time we've played this, Almost Famous through Jay Baruchel. Jay Baruchel is in a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, is in a few of these Seth Rogen verse movies. So you can always try Almost Famous if you're in a Seth Rogen movie. I think specifically like Knocked Up, maybe 40-Year-Old Virgin. But especially This Is the End, quite featured in that movie. So you can link Jay Baruchel to Almost Famous. There's a couple of good connections with Almost Famous that I'm sure we'll see. Frances McDormand is in this movie, if you're familiar. They're in a lot of the Coen brother movies. So that's another line I like to take people down is to go through the Coen brothers because there's lots of good connections through those movies. So I'm sure we will see that. I'm going to find a game already up here. We see one of these other guest accounts. Initially I thought it was a bot account, but after seeing the last person play, it seemed to be like they were playing more human-like. So I think it is probably just somebody who never created an account and they just started playing. So, okay, us. Now, this is a weird connection, but I always just go Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie. If you're aware of Tim and Eric, Tim Heidecker was in Us. So there's a lot of good connections here. John C. Riley. Um, and there's another one I think that I'm missing. Maybe not. Maybe it's just John C. Riley. But it always just shakes them up pretty early on. So if I do that, they're like, whoa, what's going on? But regardless, Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell, even if they may not be direct connections, a lot of times they end up going through movies that have a connection. So we get Jeff Goldblum. I'm going to try just doing The Fly. We'll see what happens here. Now, they're doing action comedy. I'm not aware of Jeff Goldblum being in any action comedy movies, although I think Thor Ragnarok and maybe Love and Thunder are considered action comedies. And he's in one of those. So we get Gina Davis through A League of Their Own. I think Tom Hanks is in this movie, so we can play our Charlie Wilson's War. Yeah. Tom Hanks is in that. I think Rosie O'Donnell is in that. Rosie O'Donnell not having any connection that I'm aware of, but Tom Hanks for sure. So we'll see. Okay. This is a movie I like to go down as well because there's not a lot of known connections here. I got rushed, so I'm going to go ahead and play Doubt. If I was following my own advice, I probably should have played The Master there, although I probably wouldn't have an opportunity to play another Amy Adams movie. But again, if I'm playing an Amy Adams connection, I always like to just do The Master first, just to get that one out of the way since a lot of people know it. But we get Synecdoche, New York again. When this comes up, and I can't remember, we have not done, no. Okay. So we're going to go back down our line again and play Cyrus, the classic. We'll see what they play here. But I have always really associated this Cine2Nerdle game very similar to chess. If you're familiar with chess and studying chess, we get This Is the End. This is what we played last time. I'm going to go ahead and play that Almost Famous to lock it in. But back to chess. If you're familiar with chess and studying, it's a lot about learning specific lines and having pattern recognition so that when your opponent puts you in a situation that you are very familiar with, you know how to handle it and go down these lines. And that's what I sort of put my mindset into for this game as well, is getting a pattern recognition, seeing a movie, seeing what the situation is. If it feels appropriate, then I'll go ahead and start heading down that line. have the Cyrus line. We have the David Lynch line, the Coen brothers that we haven't seen yet, but so it's going to be a lot of that strategy there. So, but I just want to reiterate that because I'm sure this is the case for other actor win conditions, but it's I think less of trying to find these very niche movies that have very little known actors in it, and really just trying to come up with your own patterns and lines to help you play your game. So we get Alec Baldwin. I'm going to do It's Complicated. I think we played this in the first video. Another one of my favorites to go into because the connections we have Hans Zimmer has a connection, Meryl Streep, Steve Martin, Alec Baldwin, John Krasinski. All of them had connections, so it puts them in dangerous territory. But they play Steve Martin here, so it's not round 4 yet, so I can't play my win condition. So I want to play probably a niche movie that has Steve Martin in it. And this isn't incredibly niche, but if I play Cheaper by the Dozen, um, I think that this has a couple connections in it, so it's okay if they play the other. But hopefully, yep, they keep play Steve Martin. And we played this before, but I'll do Leap of Faith. That's our Steve Martin connection here. So we will see what they do. Now, Liam Neeson is in this movie as well, so that's a very good connection. But also importantly, Meatloaf is in this movie. Now, people are aware of Meatloaf movies. I wasn't aware that Meatloaf was in so many movies, but you'll see that from time to time. And if Meatloaf comes up, you know you have Leap of Faith to play. But the only movie that I was aware that Meatloaf was in before playing this game was Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, if you're familiar. It's in the opening song of that movie. So that was the only one I was aware of. So I played that one. I think Nicole Kidman was in King Kong. I don't know if we played this one yet. Cold Mountain. Oh, she wasn't in this one. Okay, what? She wasn't in one. This one must be the one with Naomi Watts. So I'm gonna play. I think Birdman. Yeah, Naomi Watts. So Birdman has a couple connections. So we'll see. But they play Mulholland Drive, which is another reason why I wanted to play the Naomi Watts connection, is because it gets us down into the David Lynch verse, in which we should be able to play a late quartet through Angelo Badalamenti. Uh, Also, big names in this. Christopher Walken is in this movie. Wallace Shawn from The Princess Bride is in this. Okay, so a lot of people will play Capote as well to hopefully try to get us off of our base. And this is another one where most of the time I'm going to play the same thing. And what I'm going to play here, this is not too well known of a movie. It's called Mascots. It has Bob Balaban in it. And Bob Balaban has two connections now because they're playing the Evil X Power. They'll play both of them on here, so I wouldn't be able to make the third connection. But it's one I just get it mixes people up, uh, and there's a couple connections here, so we'll see what they do. But Bob Balaban also has a Seinfeld connection. Oh, they skip, which is important, which means that's the reason why I play this, is because a lot of people don't know it. They skip it. They give me the opportunity to play the other one, and I will play My Boyfriend's Back. Perfect to finish out Bob Balaban. If you're not familiar with who Bob Balaban is, they are, again, if you've seen Seinfeld, they are, when they're creating the Jerry show, the show within a show, he was one of the like NBC producers who was putting on the show. If you look him up, you've seen Seinfeld in that era, then you'll know. Otherwise, Bob Balaban is in a lot of the Christopher Guest movies, if you're aware of that. So, like Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, For Your Consideration, any of those Christopher Guest movies, other than This Is Spinal Tap, is probably going to have Bob Balaban in it. So if you see one of those come up, you can either play My Boyfriend's Back or Capote, and that trips people up. A lot of people are not expecting the Capote connection, but another big name. If you click this, you don't see it listed in here. They must have had a minor role. But another big name in this one is Matthew McConaughey. And early on in the lower ratings, people aren't aware that Matthew McConaughey is in My Boyfriend's Back. So that's another one that you can trip people up. And there's a line that like to get into to force like a Matthew McConaughey movie, and we get to play My Boyfriend's Back. So we're gonna leave and go on the next one. We are currently 13-0, starting off with a good streak. This was happening earlier today where, okay, I was clicking the ready button, but it wasn't working. So we'll see if we can go ahead and finish up this run of going from 1100 to 1200 here. Charlie's Angels, there's not a lot of good options. What are they playing? Whoopi Goldberg. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the Whoopi Goldberg connections, but I'm going to play. This one's an interesting one. I play Moon here. Specifically because this one doesn't have a Phillip Seymour Hoffman connection, but I'm hoping they play a Sam Rockwell movie that does have a connection. So sometime that makes sense, especially in the early game when you don't have the win conditions lined up yet. I'm hoping I play something that's a little bit more niche so that they'll play a movie that has Sam Rockwell and has another connection. So, but they may just run out of time here if they're not too careful. Ooh, ouch, they do. Let's keep on rolling it to the next one here. I hate when that happens. That happens to me all the time too. Like I get stuck on I'm trying to think of this one movie name, and even though I'm aware of other movies that have that actor in it, I get so focused on trying to play this one movie, and I'm either doing a typo and I'm spelling it wrong, or I can't just get it out, and you get in that situation where you just run out of time. But we get Alec Baldwin again, so I'm gonna just do my favorite. It's complicated here. Again, Hans Zimmer, Meryl Streep, Steve Martin, Alec Baldwin, John Krasinski all have connections. So we will see what they play. Now, our opponent's playing Martin Scorsese here. So they give us Alec Baldwin. Also, this is a Tim Burton movie that has Danny Elfman. The first video I mentioned is a good one. So we have a few options here. I would love to keep them in the Alec Baldwin universe, but Alec Baldwin has a connection to Martin Scorsese. So maybe I should play. This isn't a great one. I kind of ran out of time. I instead, oh, you know what? Winona Ryder is in a Martin Scorsese film as well. That was why I didn't play Alec Baldwin, was to try to avoid that. But I think Winona Ryder has a connection as well. So maybe it wasn't the best move here, but let's hope they just keep us in the Tim Burton universe, and they do. So we can play Red Dragon. I'm not sure if we've played this one yet, but Red Dragon was composed by Danny Elfman. So anytime those Tim Burton movies come up, get ready to play Red Dragon. So they play Hannibal here. Now we have a connection. I wanted to see if we had any 2 stars here that we could finish at, but we don't. But I'm going to go ahead and play Magnolia here. It has Julianne Moore. Uh, Julianne Moore is in a lot of Philip Seymour Hoffman movies as well. So if that name comes up, get ready to hit it. But they play Tom Cruise. And if I can sneak one in here, I'm going to play that Mission Impossible 3, and we end the game here. So probably one game left to play before we cross over into the 1200 rating. Going a little fast here just to try to wrap up the video, but we'll see if we can get this last game match made here and go ahead and jump into it. Had a few interesting games there. Really didn't get to go into, I think, a lot of those similar lines that we see. So games won't always end up that way, which can be a good thing. It's a little refreshing to play some different lines and not just play the same thing over and over again. But alas, here we are. Nicole Kidman. The last time I played Stepford Wives, this was a strategy I was doing earlier on, Stepford Wives. But then I realized that this is a reboot, and there's an earlier version of Stepford Wives. And once I got to a higher rating, people started playing that earlier version. And I would get entrapped into these early films universe, and I didn't like it. So at higher ratings, I kind of stopped playing it. But I think maybe at lower ratings, it's still okay. Now, Dangerous Liaisons, I think, has John Malkovich. So I'm going to play Being John Malkovich. Has a couple connections here, so we'll see if they fall into one of those. John Malkovich is not one of those connections. But they play Rounders. This is a movie I love to play myself because it has so many different connections. I'll just do the obvious one here. We'll go Matt Damon and we'll play talented Mr. Ripley. But if I'm in a situation where I'm blocked and I got to play a movie with one of the actors, a lot of times I'll play Rounders because it has so many different ones. So Ocean's 11. Now, if they don't block me here, we're going to do another one that we haven't played yet, which is George Clooney. You'll see George Clooney come up a lot when you're playing, and I'm going to go ahead and play Ides of March. It has George Clooney and Ryan Gosling in it, two actors that you will see quite a bit, so it's good to have those in your back pocket. But they play Ocean's 12. Okay. So what do I want to do here? I think we left off that Matt Damon had two. Huh. Do I want to finish the George Clooney? And I think the answer is yes. We're going to play Wolves. Um, this has Brad Pitt. That was one of the reasons I played, as we saw here. It also has Frances McDormand in it, who has that Coen Brothers connection. So, but they play Brad Pitt, but they blocked me. They're not going to let me play just yet. So, when I get in this situation, I'll go ahead and just do Fight Club. It's another big one because it has Brad Pitt. It has Edward Norton in it. We can see here. But it also has Meatloaf. We saw Meatloaf earlier in this video, and sometimes people like to throw that out there and just try to trip me up and play a Meatloaf game or a Meatloaf movie. And I have Leap of Faith queued up, but not this time. They go David Fincher. Puts us in an interesting situation. I can think of a couple options, but what I think I am going to do is play Wonder. I don't want to run out of time. That was close to running out of time there. I'll play Wonder Boys here. It has Frances McDormand in it. That's the only connection that I'm aware of, but it also had Robert Downey Jr., who's in a lot of movies, so they play Romancing the Stone. I'm just gonna play Forrest Gump. This is a Robert Zemeckis movie. Now, if they were playing, um, I am totally blanking. Science fiction as their win condition, I probably wouldn't play anything that's a Robert Zemeckis movie because they have all the Back to the Future movies and so on and so forth. But the two Robert Zemeckis movies I like to do is Forrest Gump and one I played, I think maybe in the first video, that is here. Uh, Gives us options. We have Tom Hanks and Robin Wright. So we'll see if they play one of those. Now, they still have one block left before this game is up. So we'll see if they end up using it. But they played The Princess Bride, which is another one of my favorite ones to see. We'll see if they block me. But we have a lot of options here. Robin Wright has a connection. Wallace Shawn, who's in this. Carrie Elwes, I don't know how to pronounce. So what do we want to do here? We've played this one before, A Most Wanted Man, when we previously had Rachel McAdams. So I'll keep this one in. I'll try to maybe hold off on introducing new movies unless it's absolutely necessary. So again, we went back to A Most Wanted Man via Robin Wright. Robin Wright is also in Moneyball, so we could have played that one too. Two connections there. So Princess Bride, one I love to play myself, but if they play it, the door is open. So anyways, that is the end of this video. I think we have crossed, over into the 1200 range. So I will leave you here with a goodbye, farewell, Alvidas, and goodbye.